Hopewell Junction have two different train yards? Well, the easy answer to that is that there were two train yards for two different purposes. The dividing line between the two yards is Main Street, the Route 82 overpass. Now, outside here, you can see that where there were two different freight yards. The pusher yard with 6 big steam engines would be just to my left here, and that would include the servicing facilities and the sand pile and the ash pit. The freight service was on the other side of Route 82 over by Williams Lumber. There was a 22-track wide freight yard. It was mainly for handling freight, and it included a cattle exercise yard. And on the far end, on the far east end of it, there was a bridge over Fishkill Creek. Just beyond that, there was a deep cut in the rock with a bridge built over the top to handle coal. It was called the coal pocket. And locomotives could pull underneath that bridge and have coal dumped into the tender. And also there were 2 big water tanks up there with a steam-driven water pump that drew water out of Fishkill Creek. And there was a siding up there so that carloads of coal could be run up next to the bridge on the upper side. And there was a conveyor belt system that moved the coal up into the bins up over the tracks. So whenever a train needed refueling, they would stop underneath there and dump a load of coal in the tender and water in the tank. Steam engines used thousands of pounds of coal and also thousands of gallons of water. Now, on the other side of the bridge, on the west side, was home base for what they called the pusher service. Now, the pusher engines were needed because going eastbound out of here, the tracks climbed up over Stormville Mountain. And that was a tough climb for the old steam engines. So when a long trainload of coal would come across the big bridge in Poughkeepsie, it would stop here and they put an extra locomotive behind the caboose and push him up the mountain. When he got up to the top, he would cut loose and come back down for the next train. And that was his job, to run up and down the mountain every day, pushing trains up the hill. And those locomotives were based in this yard right outside these windows, right outside the depot windows. And there was a roundhouse or engine servicing facility building with 3 stalls for minor repair service. And there was a turntable in the early days for the smaller engines. When the engines got too big for the turntable, they filled in the turntable and built a Y-shaped track to turn the trains around. And there was also a sand pile for sand and an ash pit for dumping out the ashes. And also there was a water tank just on the west side of the bridge. So there would be half a dozen of those big engines, steam engines, waiting right outside these windows, waiting for any eastbound freight trains. So that really is the reason why there were 2 separate yards, because there were 2 completely different reasons. One was a freight yard, the other one was home base for the pusher service.